You might remember back in March, a student at Ola Middle School in McDonough was brutally stabbed numerous times in her face, back, and neck by another student at that.
Well, today, that victim's mother filed a lawsuit against administrators claiming they knew the student had a weapon days in advance and did nothing about it. Atlanta News First reporter Joshua Skinner spoke to the mother today about the hours following the stabbing, the lawsuit, and what could be a complicated legal case.
It was March 15th when Ashley Wilson got a call from emergency responders.
He was asking me what hospital choice I had or wanted for my daughter.
Stunned, confused, Wilson didn't know how to respond. She agreed to meet the ambulance at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
I'm already a nervous wreck and praying to God over my child, and I don't even know what I'm praying for.
Wilson's daughter was involved in an altercation at Ola Middle School. This cell phone video shows part of the incident. She was stabbed and cut numerous times in the face, head, neck, and back.
When they opened the doors, I couldn't even recognize my kid. Her blonde hair was red. The clothes that she went to school in were not on her. She was covered in bandages.
8 months later to the day, Wilson filed a $3 million lawsuit in Henry County State Court against Ola's principal and 3 other administrators.
There were things that were going on at the school that were not being handled.
The lawsuit alleges that police at Ola notified administrators about the students having a knife the previous day and the day before.
The weapon should have been confiscated. An investigation should have been conducted. The students should have been removed from the premises.
Henry County Schools declined to comment for this story, saying they do not speak about active legal matters. Wilson's legal team believes they know how the defense will argue.
We expect that the defense in the lawsuit will be based on sovereign immunity.
Sovereign immunity. It usually protects governments from legal action. But there are exceptions, and it's those exceptions that could make or break this case.
It's a thorny issue, and one Smyrna attorney, Suri Chada Jimenez, says is not easy to sidestep.
That's going to be an uphill battle from the get-go.
But it is possible if certain conditions are met.
The key thing that's going to determine the outcome of this case is knowledge. Did they know, and could they have done something to prevent it? That is what the case is going to be all about.
Wilson's lawsuit alleges they did know.
Had the administrators at Ola Middle School done what they were held to do, this could have been prevented.
Wilson and her daughter moved out of Henry County. She is now homeschooled and in therapy.
It's a lot to explain to a kid and to help a kid cope with and to be their parent and watch them hurt.
Preparing for what is likely a lengthy legal battle.
You kind of just take it day by day.
I'm Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.